Consistency looks like nothing is happening until everything changes. Have you ever read that quote? I have no idea who said that quote, but it is so true. And if you've ever felt like you are being consistent and you're showing up and you're working your butt off and you're not seeing the progress, you feel like nothing is changing, you feel like nothing is working, you are not alone. That is part of growing a business. And I think that it is a big part of starting a business and getting that business off the ground. I have been in South Carolina for, it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow. And I'm down here for medical stuff again. And things just were not happening that should be happening. And I found myself getting incredibly frustrated and feeling like just nothing was working, nothing that was supposed to be coming together, and that I had been making so many calls and trying to move so many different pieces together to happen wasn't happening. And I can't stay in South Carolina forever, although I'm super grateful that I have been here for a few weeks and everything's fine with the business. But it got me thinking about you can be doing everything right and showing up consistently and having that discipline and feel like you're just not making progress. And then all of a sudden, it's like everything just changes, and all of the steps that you have been taking and those bricks you have been laying day after day line up. But when you're in the middle of it, in the thick of it, and you're going, oh my gosh, I am working my tail off and it just feels like I'm not getting anywhere, it can be incredibly frustrating. And that's typically when we lose our discipline and our consistency. And it can be when you're a new real estate agent, getting your business off the ground. It can be when you are in the middle of a transaction and you are putting out fires and fires just keep coming up and it feels like the odds are just stacked against you to get this contract across the finish line to closing. And you really can be doing everything within your power, and things can still be falling apart and not moving forward. And that's just part of the process. And in some cases, things need to fall apart so that better things can come together. I really do believe that. But in other cases, it is just a matter of continuing to stay consistent, knowing that you are doing the right task on a daily basis to move your business forward, or that you are calling that loan officer who has gone MIA for weeks at a time and you're after them day after day. Or I've definitely been known to show up at a loan officer's office if they're local and I'm not getting the responses that I need to report back to my seller on. Or even if my buyer hired a loan officer that is not one that I recommend. As long as you know that you are doing everything that is within your control, you really just have to let the rest go and take peace in knowing that you're not leaving anything on the table. You are doing your absolute best. And that if you continue to do that day after day, pieces will fall into place. Maybe not exactly how you thought they would fall into place. And I'm not saying it's going to be on the timeline that you want, but if you continue to be consistent and chip away at working towards whatever your end goal is, it will happen. And that's exactly what happens with this insurance approval and then getting appointments lined up. It has been a grind, and it really didn't need to be that way. But I've come to learn that for the most part, the medical industry, particularly insurance, but also operations staff and even some doctors, are a disaster. And sometimes it takes being that squeaky wheel to be the one to get the grease. And I probably could have been back in Virginia a week ago had it not been for a particular clinical director that is incredibly impressed with herself and very power hungry. And she uses that to gatekeep, but within that was giving incorrect information of what I needed in terms of diagnostic injections. In my case, a nerve block. She was stating that I needed 2 nerve blocks, and insurance was stating otherwise. My doctor was stating otherwise. And it took me, and my dad came with me, showing up at this spine institute and having a fairly uncomfortable discussion face to face with her. And she got super nasty. She definitely does not have any control over her emotions and probably shouldn't even be in this position. But at that point, I had gone round and round. Phone calls weren't returned, emails weren't returned. She was giving misinformation. And I had just finally reached my breaking point, knowing that, listen, lady, I'm on a schedule here. This shouldn't be taking weeks. Oh, and also the information that you're giving is incorrect. And I don't like to do that. But in certain cases, and this definitely applies to real estate, it doesn't mean that you have to raise your voice. It doesn't mean that you have to be nasty. I would say it's actually the opposite. You have to remain in complete control of your emotions. But sometimes you've got to escalate it. You've got to go above somebody to get done what needs to happen. And at the end of the day, that's our job. We have got to show up for our clients, even if that means having a less than pleasant conversation with someone, or having someone disagree with us and then continuing to advocate for our clients. And I will say this, I am really, really good at advocating for clients. I'm not as great advocating for myself in the medical world, because I think I find it to be harder advocating for myself. And sometimes I feel like they just look at me like I'm crazy. And it's not too much to trust your gut and say, no, I need to seek someone beyond where this person is. And I would say that's the case with maybe a loan officer who's gone MIA, or an appraiser when you really do need to appeal the appraisal because it's got bad data in it. And it's definitely not pleasant. It's not my favorite thing to do. But at the end of the day, it is about our clients and doing what is best for them. We always have to have their best interests at heart. And if that means consistently showing up and being the squeaky wheel on their behalf, then that's our job. And within your business, you've got to show up for yourself. You have to trust that if you are on a daily basis doing the task that you know are going to move your business forward, and I'm not saying you're going to show up 100% every single day. You're human. That's not possible. Consistency means showing up every single day with the capacity that you have for that day. Some days it's probably going to be, 20%. Some days it's going to be 100%, and you're going to be all in. Just continue to show up and trust that in doing that, everything will come together. And it can be discouraging at times. There were times in the past few weeks where I really just wanted to throw the towel in. Shouldn't be this hard to get to the point that a self-pay nerve ablation can happen. But that's where I found myself, and I had to take control of that situation and do what was within my control. And it didn't happen as fast as I would have liked it. It certainly wasn't efficient. I spent a lot of time getting it done, but now tomorrow I get to head to have this procedure done with my doctor and hopefully get some long-term pain relief from it. And it really just reminded me, I had to shift my mindset on this. What would I do if this was for a client? And there would have been no question. I would be burning their phones up, burning their emails up, and showing up in person. And that's what caused me to really think about this and shift how I was approaching it. So if you are in a situation where your business is not growing and getting off the ground as fast as you want it to, or maybe you've been doing this for a few years and your production goals aren't exactly where you would plan, you haven't closed as much as you were planning on this year, that's okay. As long as you are showing up and putting the work in and staying consistent, it will all come together. It might take a little longer than you planned. It might be a little harder than you thought. It might cost a little more money than you thought. There's a lot of variables within that. But if the end goal is you accomplishing what you set out to do, that's all that matters. Keep showing up, stay consistent, don't give up, and you will get there. I hope you got some value from this today. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.